Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another live stream. My name is Lar Ryan from Complete Test Success, and today what I'm doing is I'm doing a live correction for one of my followers. So what I did was on Saturday I posted a general training IELTS writing task 1 question on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page, and I asked people to respond, and then the idea is I'm going to choose one of those people. So a few people wrote letters in response to that question that I posted on Saturday. Today, I'm going to choose one of those people and I'm going to give a full correction to that person. So pretty straightforward. So what I have is this little app here where I'm going to choose one of the 5 people who submitted their letter. So you can see the names here. 637 is the winner. Okay, so good job, a little wolf. Now, I just need a minute to find that letter and add it to a document, and then we'll correct it here live. If anyone has questions for me, so in the comments, feel free to ask questions. The main focus of today's live stream is correcting that letter. But if you have questions about my feedback, about the scores, about what's right, what's wrong, anything basically, if you have questions, feel free just to ask in the comments and I'll be able to respond to your questions. Okay, so just a moment, let me get that essay and then we'll begin. Oh, not essay, letter, excuse me. Okay, so a little wolf on YouTube. Okay, so let me just share this letter with you and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so you should be able to see that now. Perfect. Right, so this here at the top was the question. It said, your friend has invited you to his or her wedding, but you are unable to attend. Write a letter to your friend. So what that means is it must be formal. So dear Ali, okay, perfect. So just the first name, best wishes, Akbar. Okay, perfect. So you just have the first name, not the surname. This was written on YouTube, and I know in the comments it's difficult to do the formatting, but we would want to leave a space, leave a line before best wishes and a line after best wishes. So it would look like that with a line between each one and also a line here after Dear Ali and the first paragraph. Okay, so yeah, besides that, it's all informal, which is what we want. Let me just do a little word count here. It is 165 words, so slightly shorter than I would ask my students to write. Generally speaking, I would ask my students to write about 60 words per paragraph. So we'll have one paragraph for each of the prompts, and each paragraph will be about 60 words long. So it looks a little bit short. Hi, little wolf. Very good that you're here, actually. So, you might have questions as we go through your feedback, so feel free to ask. Is there any best model to answer the statement in opinion essay? No, not necessarily. I mean, no, you have to read the question and then answer based on what the question has asked you to discuss. So no, I wouldn't recommend kind of having an idea of what to say before you see the question. That is not a good idea, because if the examiner thinks you're writing something that's like memorized in advance, that could reduce your score. So no, I don't think that's a good idea. In fact, I know that's a bad idea. All right. So the first prompt says, thank him or her for the invitation. So we need about 60 words for that and we shouldn't really discuss anything else. So this is about 42 words. So what we see here is, a little bit shorter than we would like, especially if you're aiming for a higher score. A little Wolf, the fact that you're here, can you tell me what score are you aiming for in the writing test? Just normally speaking, on my writing course, I would know the scores that my students are aiming for, and my feedback would be adapted to that. Okay. So how are you? That's fine. It doesn't really add to or detract from the task response, the task achievement score, because it's not really developing the idea. So, we need to thank him or her for the invitation. So that has to be the focus. Just yesterday, I got an invitation to your marriage. Now, an invitation would be not a specific invitation, but if it's your friend, we would imagine that your friend is the person who sent you the invitation. In fact, it says it in the question, your friend has invited you. So it's not an invitation, it's specifically the invitation. So the invitation that your friend sent. So it's specific to your marriage, which is going to be held next month on 21st October. I would put it in, I know, on 21st October. You know what? That's okay. That's fine. That is how we write it. I was so happy. You've left 2 spaces between the words when and I, so just 1 space. I was so happy when I heard from Mohammed that you're tying the knot with your childhood sweetheart. Okay, so the goal here was to thank your friend for the invitation. It literally says thank him or her for the invitation. So you haven't done that. You said, I got the invitation and Mohammed told me that you're tying the knot with your childhood sweetheart. So this is kind of irrelevant as well. It's like, it says in the question, your friend has invited you to his or her wedding. And now you're talking about Mohammed told you about this. Yeah, so it doesn't really respond directly to the question. And that's problematic. A, you haven't responded to the first prompt. And B, you're kind of creating a situation where Mohammed has told you about this, or did you get the invitation somewhere else? So it's not really clear if you are or are not talking about that. Okay, so you're looking for a 7.5. Let me just write that down. Writing 7.5. Is that the overall score you need or the writing score that you need, Little Wolf? Okay, so let's get back into this again. So the next prompt, say why you are unable to attend. Unfortunately, I can't attend it. I can't attend it. Thanks for your invitation. So we wouldn't say attend it. We would just say I can't attend. Okay, so you have to say why you are unable to attend. Okay, unfortunately, I can't attend. It is because my sister. Now, this would be an unnatural phrase. I can't attend, and then you have the reason. But instead of putting the reason next to that, you start a new sentence, it is. So what do you mean by it? It is because. Well, I can't attend because. So it's quite unnatural. Much more natural way of saying that is in the same sentence, having the word because between what's happening and the reason, rather than what's happening, new sentence, and then referring back to what's happening and then giving the reason. It's just not as natural as it's not how we would naturally say it. So unfortunately, I can't attend because my sister is coming from Canada on 20th October. So I would be picking her from the airport and taking her to her child who is suffering from leukemia. Okay. So isn't quite right. Or do you know what? Let's add it to the same sentence again. Okay. So we can say, so I would. Now it's not, I would is if we are imagining the situation. So if you were using a conditional sentence, we would say would to show we're imagining it. Like if it was second conditional, if I was able to go, I would be delighted. I'm not able to go, but if I was, so we're imagining if I was able to go, I would be delighted. So you're not talking about something that we're imagining. You're talking about something real. Really, when I collect my sister, I will be doing this, not if, not in a conditional situation. So here we need to change that would to will. Okay, so I will be picking her up. The phrase is to pick someone up, is in to collect someone. I will be picking her up from the airport, and we need to follow the structure. I will be picking her up, and I will be taking her. So we need to follow the same grammar that we have here in this sentence as well. Okay, so unfortunately, I can't attend because my sister is coming from Canada on 20th of October. So I will be picking her up from the airport and taking her to her child. Taking her to her child is a bit of an unusual phrase. Again, I'll be taking her to her child. I'll be taking her to maybe see her child who is suffering from leukemia. He has been in the hospital for the past 2 years. We can't miss the day with him. Okay. We can't miss the day with him. So this sentence, I know what you're saying is I can't go to the wedding because we can't miss the day with him. But let's make a stronger connection. Maybe, as I'm sure you can imagine, we cannot miss the day with him to attend your wedding. Like make it clear that, you know, this is a connection to why you can't go. Okay, so say why you're unable to attend. You're picking up your sister, bringing her to see her child. Okay, and that was long enough. 64 words, including the words that I added. But, you know, in general, that paragraph is long enough. And you have done what you were asked to do. You're asked to say why you're unable to attend. You've done that. Whereas in the previous paragraph, you were asked to thank him or her for the invitation, and you didn't do that. Okay, so let's see what comments we have here. A friend told me about only fiance. I'm not sure what you mean there. Writing score is 7.5. All grammar errors I made. Okay. So let's jump back in and we'll look at the final paragraph. It says, describe the wedding gift you are sending him or her. Okay. So that's just a spelling mistake. And I can see that, you know, there are slips are allowed when you're writing in the IELTS test. The examiner will see a slip and, you know, I think do the Disneyland, go to Disneyland. Maybe it is. It might be considered a slip because it doesn't kind of match the type of mistake you're making in the rest of the essay. Okay. To go to Disneyland with your wife. You always wanted to go to Disneyland with your wife. Well, they haven't got married yet. Maybe your future wife. Okay. More likely we would say her name. I mean, if it's your friend, you probably know the person's name. You probably know like the future wife's name. Anyway, let's just leave it at that. You always want to go to Disneyland with your future wife. So I have booked a flight directly from Delhi to Los Angeles. Okay, and no space before the comma here. So there should be no space there. Okay. So you always wanted to go to Disneyland with your future wife. So I have booked. So the thing here, you're doing this quite a bit where you're starting a new sentence with a conjunction. You've done it back up here as well, starting with so, like a new sentence and then starting with so, a new sentence and saying it is because. So like there's no real reason to separate those two pieces of information into two sentences because ideally they're the same point. They're kind of, it's the same point that you're making. So it's not very natural to stop and start again in this way. Like far more natural would be that's part of the same sentence. Okay, so I have booked a flight directly from Delhi to Los Angeles. Now, a flight, well, it's for your friend and your friend's wife. I booked flights directly from Delhi to Los Angeles. Not only this, but I've also covered all the expenses, including the hotel booking, 5 meals in the luxurious restaurants, and transportation to the major destinations within the city. Okay, that is a fantastic wedding gift for sure. You need to say more directly that this is your wedding gift. So, for your wedding gift, I have booked flights directly from Delhi to Los Angeles. Not only this, but I've also covered all the expenses, including the hotel booking, just the hotel, including the hotel, 5 meals in the luxurious restaurants, maybe in luxurious restaurants, because they're not specific restaurants, and transportation to the major destinations within the city. I hope that this gift will be to your liking. We'll meet soon. Love you. Best wishes, Akbar. Okay. Okay. So just making it clearer that you are in fact talking about your gift. And then, I have booked flights directly from Delhi to Los Angeles. I think it's very much assumed that this is for the person. You always wanted to go, so I'm going to go. It's not, I don't think that no one's going to think that's what you're saying, but it would more be like, I have booked flights for you directly from Delhi, like that. I added for your wedding gift, I've booked flights, but I mean, it's already quite clear, for your wedding, I've booked them for myself. Of course, that's not going to be the case, but I think just that naturally, that's what we would say. So I want to add that to the document. Okay. And we already looked at the sign off. Okay. So what are we looking at then? In terms of task achievement, this is a band 5. The big problem here is you are asked to thank him or her for the invitation, and you did not do that. You didn't do what you were asked to do, so that's a band 5. You have to respond directly to the prompts. You can't just write in general, like what would you write if you were writing a letter to a friend in this situation? So it's irrelevant. This whole paragraph doesn't actually do what you're asked to do. Therefore, band 5 for task response, for task achievement. These other paragraphs are better, where you do clearly respond to the prompts. So if your other paragraphs had been to this standard, you'd be looking at a band 7 or a band 8 for task achievement. But in this case, we're looking at a band 5. Okay. So next then, for coherence and cohesion, there are times where the information isn't completely clear. So extra information, we can't miss that day to attend your wedding. So like the extra information that I've included to kind of make it more coherent, to make it clear what you're talking about for your wedding gift. In terms of referencing, substitution, cohesive devices, you're not making any mistakes. So that is good. So that's a coherence and cohesion score of band 7. Okay, let me stop there for a second. Let's see if we have any comments before I give the grammar and vocab scores. Hi, Ikra. Good to see you here. I also uploaded my response for correction. Yeah, so we just chose 1 out of the 5. There were 5 people uploaded them. Hi, Faisal. I thought so as conjunction and conjunctive adverb also. Yeah, so what you've done is correct. Using so at the start of a sentence like that is correct. But what's unusual is the fact that you have one piece of information, you're separating it into 2 sentences. Normally, we would just put all of that together instead of going, here's one half of the thing I'm talking about, and now here's the other half. Normally, we'd just put all that together in one sentence. So it's not necessarily that you're grammatically inaccurate, but it's not the most natural way to say it. And also what it does is you end up with like shorter, simple sentence structures instead of just having compound sentences, which would be a little bit more advanced. So for your grammar as well, it's better to join them into one longer sentence. Only because I got first paragraph wrong, I moved to 7 to 5 from 7. Yeah, 100%. Because you didn't respond to the first prompt. Yep, that's exactly the problem. Okay, so then in terms of vocab, you have a good range. you're not making spelling mistakes. So for the most part, it's accurate, not many mistakes. So you would get a band 7. So we would need a higher level of accuracy and a wider range if we were to get a band 8 for vocab, but that's a band 7 right there. And then for grammar, it's going to be a band 6. So to get a band 7, you need to have frequent error-free sentences. And if you look here, we have a mistake with articles, a mistake with punctuation, preposition. So articles, punctuation, prepositions. Sentence structures aren't very natural, even though they're accurate. Mistake with tense or modal, whichever way you want to call that, would instead of will. That's a vocab mistake. Using the infinitive. Article mistake. Article mistake. Oh, that's a plural mistake. Punctuation mistake. Article mistake. Tense mistake. So what we see mostly, the types of mistakes you're making are related to punctuation, articles, and that's probably it. Punctuation and articles, some preposition, but not so much. And some of those preposition mistakes are more related to vocab as well, like picking her up. That's a vocab mistake, not a preposition mistake. So punctuation and articles being the most common. And then the misuse of would instead of will here, would instead of will up here as well. And like I was saying, try not to limit yourself to shorter sentence structures. Like a compound sentence is better than a simple sentence structure. A complex sentence, you need a range of complex sentences as well. So that would be very important. So what we're looking at here then is 5776, which would be a band 6 overall for this letter. Okay, so that's essentially everything I need to say about that letter, band 6. The main things are read the prompt correctly and respond directly to, read the prompts carefully and respond directly to the prompts. If you've been asked to say thank you and you don't say thank you, well, then you're not doing what you're asked to do. Don't change the situation that's described in the question. So, your friend gave you the invitation, you're talking about Muhammad. Why are we talking about Muhammad telling you about the wedding? Talk about the invitation that you were given. Talk about what the question described. And then later in the letter, you're talking about your friend's wife, but your friend is inviting you to the wedding. Clearly, they're not married yet if you were just after getting the invitation. So again, stick within the context of the question and make sure that you respond directly to the prompts. So that would be the main issue in task achievement. And then for punctuation and articles, and then for grammar, punctuation and articles are your most common mistakes. So those would be the 2 areas of grammar that I'd like you to work on most. The scores that take the least time to improve are task achievement and coherence and cohesion. And you said that you need a band 7.5 in writing. So what you would need to do is get your task achievement and your coherence and cohesion scores up to band 8. And then getting 7 for vocab and grammar. That would probably be the easiest way for you to improve that score. Do you conduct online IELTS full course? I do indeed. Yep. So if you take a look, there's my email address there, lara@completetestsuccess.com. So you can email me about it, or you'll find my courses online. I'll just give you a link there as well. 1 second. Okay, so if you look in the comments, I've just shared that with you there. Okay, good. Okay. YCC and vocab are not 8. So with vocab, it's the range and the accuracy. you'd need to improve both range and accuracy. And then for coherence and cohesion, I think using those conjunctions more naturally, and the additional information to show more clearly why you're talking about what you're talking about, like to attend your wedding that I added, for your wedding gift, that thing that I added, that type of stuff, just making it clearer why you're talking about the topics you're talking about. Little Wolf, it would not used in the place of will when to show politeness. No, we don't use would in that way. So it has a different meaning. In politeness, maybe if you're asking somebody for something, would you mind helping me, like that, but only in that situation. In the structure that you were using in the essay, would doesn't indicate politeness in this context. Yep. Hey, Stan. Good to see you, Stan. Good to hear from you. Yeah, so the lesson started 26 minutes ago. I had to change the lessons to Mondays, so that would be the normal time. But, it's recorded. So as soon as we stop, it'll be uploaded. You'll be able to see it anyway. Unit 7. Okay, so best to look at that. Little Wolf, in my first prompt, I mixed happiness with thanks feeling. And about Mohammed, I mentioned him because I got info of only finance from him. I think it seems more complicated. I mean, the paragraph is about saying thank you. So focus on thank you and how much you appreciate it, and how important it is to you, and, that type of thing. My last task 1 letter had prompts with plurals. Yeah, that'll happen. And if there's plurals, you have to respond to that as well. You can't ignore the prompt. You have to specifically say what it asked you to talk about. So, if it asked you for, what are the reasons, then you have to give more than one reason. Yeah, very, very important. Okay, so that's it. Band 6 for that letter right there. Thanks to all of you for submitting your writing. Well done, Little Wolf. And, not the score you needed. So in one way, it's disappointing, but also you have a very concrete idea of what you need to do to improve your scores. Responding more directly to the prompt, showing clearly why you're talking about what you're talking about, stay within the context of the prompt, and punctuation and articles. If you can fix those things, you'll be looking at your score. Okay, so that's it for today. Take care, everybody. Best of luck to those of you who have tests coming up, and see you next time. Bye.